I do have some guests joining me on the couch. This is John and Kendra Smiley, authors of Be the Parent. How are you this morning?
Very good, thank you.
Okay, great. Well, we have a question for you. My daughter said something very rude to an adult recently. I'm not sure I handled it well. Any advice you can give me in case it happens again?
Well, chances are it might. And if we take a look first at the younger child, a younger child may not even know that what they said was rude. So actually, let me step back just a minute. If that happened, I think the first thing you should do as the parent is to apologize to the adult. And that is out of respect to them. And you know, you might think, well, now why am I not asking my child to apologize? Well, if your child hasn't been asked to do that before, you may cause more of a scene and make that adult feel more uncomfortable than if you just take over the situation, apologize to the adult, and then have that conversation privately with your child. This is why mom had to, or dad had to apologize for what you said. This was rude. You know, whether it was the tone that she used or the words that she used, help the child understand why it was rude. And you might even, with a younger child, do a little role play. Sometimes little kids are rude just inadvertently, like you introduce them to an adult and you say hello to this adult, and the child doesn't do it, or they look down, and it might be that they're shy, but help them by role playing that particular situation.
Right, and I think if it's an older child, and in this situation, you might say, well, gosh, why haven't you taught the kid by the time they're 11 or 12 not to be rude? Well, they might have come up with something that they haven't used before, like sarcasm is a great example of that. All of a sudden they figure out they can be sarcastic. Well, that's rude. When you use sarcasm with somebody, that's rude. And in that case, you're not going to apologize to the adult, because basically what that does then, it humiliates the 11 or 12-year-old. And that's not your goal. We don't want to humiliate them. We want to correct them and help them not to be rude the next time. So what you do is you kind of let that pass and say, ooh, you know, my 11-year-old was just rude. They were sarcastic. When you get that 11-year-old by himself or herself, then you say to them, hey, that was sarcastic, and I don't want to hear you doing that again. And if they don't understand that, then again, you can even do that role play with older kids and say, this is sarcasm, and you might quip, and that's not sarcasm, and explain to them, define what sarcasm is and why that's rude to use that. And so it's a little bit different with younger kids just starting out and older kids that, you know, like are 11 and 12 or like that.
Sure. Good advice. You guys always have great advice.
Well, we are glad. We're glad.
It's great. It's great to have you on the show. And if you have a question, you could send your question to John and Kendra at parentinglikeapro.com. And if they answer your question, you'll get a free copy of their book. Not a bad deal. So thanks so much for being on. We'll be right back.